Liam Dexter and Chloe Rivers were the couple everyone admired. He was 34, tall and charming, known for his work in real estate. She was 29, soft-spoken and beautiful, a kindergarten teacher who loved flowers and sunny mornings. They lived in a quiet neighborhood in Savannah, Georgia, where people left their doors unlocked and trusted their neighbors. Liam and Chloe had been together for 3 years. He proposed to her during a weekend trip to the mountains. It was romantic, candles, soft music, and a diamond ring hidden in a slice of cake. Chloe said yes with tears in her eyes. Everyone around them believed they were meant to be. But behind the perfect photos and happy smiles, things weren't so perfect. Liam had secrets. He liked control, and Chloe, once joyful and lively, had begun to grow quiet and nervous. She stopped talking to her friends as often. Her family noticed, but she always said everything was fine. "Liam is just stressed," she would whisper. What Chloe didn't know was that Liam had been cheating on her. He was involved with another woman, someone younger, someone wild, someone who didn't ask questions. But he couldn't leave Chloe, not yet. She knew too much. She had seen his hidden documents, strange bank transfers, and heard one phone call she wasn't supposed to. Chloe was kind, but she wasn't stupid. She had started asking questions. Liam felt trapped. If Chloe went to the police or told her family, everything would fall apart. His secret deals, the fraud, even his relationship with the other woman, it would all come crashing down. So he made a plan. He pretended everything was fine. He smiled, kissed her forehead, brought her flowers, and talked about their wedding. Then, one evening, he suggested a walk. "Let's go somewhere quiet," he said. Chloe smiled, thinking maybe things were getting better. He drove them to a quiet place near an old construction site. It was dark and cold. He told her to wait in the car while he grabbed something. When he returned, he had a large cardboard box and a bottle of wine. "Let's sit and talk," he said. Chloe didn't see it coming. One moment she was sipping wine, the next she felt dizzy. Her head spun, her eyes closed. Liam had drugged her. He thought he did it cleanly. He placed her unconscious body in the cardboard box, sealed it tightly with tape, and used a shovel to dig a hole behind the abandoned site. The ground was soft from rain, and he worked quickly. He buried her deep and patted the soil like a gardener planting seeds. As he walked away, he felt calm. Cold, but calm. He even whispered, "I'm sorry, Chloe," before lighting a cigarette and driving home. To the world, Chloe had disappeared. A missing persons report was filed. Liam cried in front of cameras, begging for help. "Please," he said, "if anyone sees her, let me know." But deep inside, Liam believed it was over. He thought he got away. He had no idea what was coming. Chloe woke up in darkness. At first, she thought she was dreaming. Her head was pounding, her throat dry, and it was hard to breathe. Everything felt tight around her, walls closing in. The air smelled like wet cardboard and dirt. She moved her hands, but they were pressed against something rough and flat. Then came the sound of her own breathing, fast and panicked. She screamed, but her voice was muffled. It bounced back at her. She wasn't dreaming. She was trapped. Chloe remembered the wine, Liam's smile, the cold air, and then nothing. Now she was here, wherever here was, surrounded by darkness and silence. But the silence wasn't complete. She could hear the beating of her heart, louder than ever. She could hear the scrape of her fingernails against the box. Her fingers were bleeding. She tried to push, but the lid was heavy, weighed down by something solid. Dirt. She realized then what had happened. She had been buried. She was in a box underground. Tears rolled down her face. She was choking now, not just from fear, but from lack of air. She could barely move. But she wasn't ready to die. Not like this. Not without a fight. Chloe began to think. Think hard. She calmed her breathing the best she could and felt around her pockets. Her phone gone. Liam had taken it. But something else was still there. A tiny safety pin. She had used it to hold her skirt together earlier that day. It was small but sharp. With shaky hands, she used it to poke at the tape seams. The box was thick, but not impossible. She kept working, scratching, and pushing, trying to find a weak spot. Time passed, minutes, maybe hours. It was hard to tell. Her fingers ached. Her chest burned. And then, she felt a shift. A corner of the box gave way, a tiny crack opening to moist soil. Her heart jumped. It was hope. Not much, but enough. She dug her fingers into the dirt. It was wet, loose. She began to claw her way out, inch by inch. It felt like forever. Her arms were numb, but she didn't stop. Above, a storm had started. Rain fell over the abandoned site. Lightning flashed in the sky. The ground was softening. Mud rolled down the sides of the shallow grave. And then, a hand broke through. Covered in blood, dirt, and rain, Chloe pulled herself out of the grave. She was gasping, shaking, and soaked to the bone. Her white blouse was torn, her face bruised, but she was alive. Alive. She looked around. No one was there. No cars. No lights. Just empty land and cold rain. She stood slowly, every bone in her body screaming. But her mind was clear now. Liam had tried to kill her. He thought she was dead, but she wasn't, and she was going to make him pay. Chloe staggered down the muddy road, each step heavy and painful. Her bare feet bled from sharp stones and thorns. Her arms were covered in scratches, her clothes soaked through. But none of that mattered. She was alive. That truth burned in her heart like fire. She had no phone, no money, no one nearby, but she knew where she had to go. Home, not Liam's house. No, she couldn't go back there. Instead, she aimed for her sister Cassie's apartment, about 5 miles away. Cassie lived in the city. If Chloe could make it there, she could tell everything. The truth, the attempt on her life, the lie Liam was telling everyone. The rain poured harder. A car passed by but didn't stop. She kept walking. Meanwhile, Liam was relaxing in his warm home. He had just made coffee. His TV was on, tuned to the news. Reporters were still talking about Chloe's disappearance. Still no sign of Chloe Rivers, a 29-year-old kindergarten teacher who went missing 2 nights ago. Her fiancé, Liam Dexter, has cooperated with police and given a statement. He says she vanished during a late-night walk. Liam smirked. He had even made fake texts from her phone, pretending she ran away. He had deleted messages, cleaned up the scene. Everything pointed to a runaway. And so far, the police had no proof of foul play. He was winning. Then his phone buzzed. A number he didn't recognize. He ignored it. It buzzed again. This time, a message. "I'm not dead, Liam." He dropped the phone. For a second, he just stared at the screen. He picked it up, hands shaking. Another message came through. "You buried me." I woke up. Liam stood frozen in the middle of his kitchen. His breath caught in his chest. He laughed, nervously. "No, this is a prank. Someone's messing with me." But the next photo made his blood run cold. It was Chloe, standing in the rain, dirty and wild-eyed. Her face pale, but clearly hers. The photo had been taken just moments ago. She was alive. Somehow, impossibly, terrifyingly alive. Liam felt the walls closing in. He locked his doors, drew the curtains. Every shadow made him jump. "Think, Liam, think," he muttered. He couldn't go to the police now. He had lied, tampered with evidence. They'd never believe him. If Chloe spoke first, it was over. His secrets, his affairs, his fraud, they'd all come out. He picked up his phone to call someone, his lawyer maybe, or the woman he'd been cheating with, but he froze. The TV flickered. The reporter was saying, "Breaking news, Chloe Rivers has just arrived at a local hospital. Bruised, weak, but alive. Details are still coming in. She claims her fiancé tried to murder her." Liam's face went white. She had made it. She was really alive. And now the whole world would know. The hospital room was quiet except for the beep of machines and the soft hum of the air conditioner. Chloe lay in bed, her arms bandaged, an oxygen tube in her nose. Nurses whispered outside the door. A police officer stood guard just outside, arms folded, watching everyone who passed. Cassie sat beside Chloe, holding her hand. "Do you remember everything?" Cassie asked softly, tears in her eyes. Chloe nodded slowly. Her voice was hoarse, but steady. "I remember everything. The drive, the wine, the box, the soil. I thought I was going to die, Cassie." Cassie squeezed her hand tightly. "You're safe now. You survived. And you're not alone." Chloe had told the doctors what happened the moment she arrived. How Liam had drugged her, stuffed her in a cardboard box, and buried her alive. The doctors had been shocked. One nurse cried. The police were called immediately. Photos of her injuries were taken. Soil samples were collected from her skin and clothes. Everything she said matched with what was found. Within an hour, the hospital was surrounded by reporters. Her story had spread like wildfire. "Buried alive" flashed across every TV screen in town. Everyone wanted to know how she had survived. Detective Ryan Marks, a tall man with kind eyes, entered the room holding a notepad. He sat down beside her bed and said, "Miss Rivers, I just need to go over some details with you. We've already got officers heading to the site you described, but anything else you remember, no matter how small, can help us catch him." Chloe nodded. She closed her eyes for a moment and remembered Liam's cold voice. "Let's sit and talk," he had said, just before she passed out. He said it like nothing was wrong, like we were just spending time together. Then everything went dark, she whispered. Detective Marks wrote quickly. "You're very brave," he said. "Don't worry. We're going to find him." But Liam was already on the move. At that very moment, he was speeding down the highway in a rented car, panicking. He had packed cash, a fake ID, and a backpack. His original plan was to wait things out, but now? Now the whole country was watching. His face was all over the news. They were calling him a would-be killer, a monster, and worse. He turned off his phone and tossed it into the river. He needed to disappear. Forever. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw Chloe, her pale face breaking through the soil. It haunted him. Back at the hospital, Chloe made a decision. "I want to speak on the news," she told the doctor. "I want people to hear it from me." Within hours, she sat in front of a camera, face bruised but voice strong. "My name is Chloe Rivers," she said. "My fiancé tried to kill me. He buried me alive. He thought I'd die, but I survived. And now I want justice. Not just for me, but for anyone who's afraid to speak out. Evil hides behind nice words and pretty faces. I trusted him. I almost died for it." The world watched in silence. Some cried, some cheered, and somewhere, in a small motel near the state border, Liam saw the video on a dusty TV screen. He punched the wall, screamed, but deep down he knew. He wasn't just running from police now. He was running from a woman he buried, and she had come back stronger than ever. Detective Ryan Marks stood at the edge of the shallow grave where Chloe had escaped. The cardboard box was still partly buried, torn open, stained with blood, mud, and panic. A team of officers and forensic experts surrounded the site, taking photos, collecting samples, and measuring footprints in the soft earth. "Unbelievable," one officer muttered. She clawed her way out with her bare hands. Marks nodded. "It's a miracle she made it. But now it's time to catch the man who tried to put her there." Back at the station, police were working around the clock. They issued a nationwide warrant for Liam Dexter. His photo was plastered across every news station, website, and highway billboard. "Wanted for attempted murder, Liam Dexter." Airports, bus terminals, and car rental companies were on high alert. But Liam was smart. He used cash only, changed his clothes, and kept moving. He had no phone, no credit cards, nothing that could track him. He dyed his hair dark and wore sunglasses and a cap pulled low. He had done shady things before. He knew how to disappear. But what he didn't expect was the power of Chloe's story. Her video had gone viral. Survivors of abuse, people who had almost lost their lives to someone they trusted, began sharing their own stories under the hashtag buried alive but back. The world wasn't just looking for Liam now. It was watching, listening, and Chloe was getting stronger every day. She worked with detectives, pointing out hidden things about Liam, the places he liked to go, the fake names he'd once used, the old contacts he might try to reach. She even told them about a small cabin his late uncle once owned, deep in the woods near Asheville, North Carolina. "He always said it was the perfect place to disappear," she said. Police immediately sent a team there. But Liam wasn't hiding. Not yet. He was watching. From a motel on the edge of Georgia, Liam sat on the bed, eyes bloodshot, face hollow. He flipped through TV channels. Chloe was on almost every one. Strong, brave, alive. She had turned from victim to warrior, and it burned him. "She was supposed to be gone," he whispered. "I planned it. I made sure." He opened his backpack and pulled out a pistol. He stared at it for a long time. Maybe I should finish what I started. But a knock on the door snapped him out of it. He quickly tucked the gun away and peeked through the peephole. Just a cleaning lady. He didn't open. His nerves were fried. He hadn't slept properly in days. Then the knock came again, louder this time, and a voice. "Liam Dexter, this is the police. We know you're in there." His heart stopped. In seconds, he jumped through the back window and took off into the woods behind the motel. Police stormed the room moments later, too late. But now they were close. Very close. Chloe got the call while sipping tea with Cassie in the hospital. "They almost caught him," Detective Marks said. "He's on foot. He won't get far." Chloe stared out the window, a cold look in her eyes. I hope he runs, she whispered. Let him feel what it's like to be hunted. Let him feel what I felt in that box. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was waiting for justice. The forest was thick, wet, and dark. Liam's clothes were soaked, his shoes covered in mud. Mosquitoes buzzed around his ears. Every step felt like a struggle. His legs were tired, his body aching, but he kept going. He had no map, no food, and no plan anymore. Only fear. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. His stomach twisted with hunger, but the fear inside him was louder. The police were everywhere. Helicopters flew over the trees. He could hear dogs barking in the distance. Every snapping twig made his heart jump. He stumbled through the woods like a ghost, haunted by Chloe's face. The face that came back from the dead. Back in Savannah, Chloe was recovering quickly. The bandages were off her arms. Her voice was strong again. The hospital had released her into protective custody. A police car was parked outside. Cassie's home 24/7. But Chloe wasn't hiding. She was helping. She met with Detective Marks and the search team daily. She brought up places Liam might go, old hiking trails, camping spots, even old friends who owed him favors. One place stuck out, a hunter's cabin near Sweet Hollow, a forgotten road deep in the state park. Liam had taken her there once, years ago, when they were happy. Check there, Chloe said. He might be trying to wait it out in a place no one remembers. Detective Marks nodded. We'll send a drone team and a search unit tonight. Chloe stood up. I want to come. He frowned. That's not a good idea. He's dangerous. And if he sees you, he already tried to kill me once, she interrupted. He failed. I won't live in fear. Let me help finish this. After a pause, Marks agreed, but only with 2 officers by her side at all times. That night, under the pale light of the moon, the team made their way to the cabin. Liam had found it too. It was dusty, abandoned, but it had a roof and some dry wood. He built a weak fire. As he sat there shaking, gun in hand, he whispered to himself, I'll wait till things cool down. I just need time. Then he heard voices, crackling radios, footsteps, dogs barking, lights flashing through the trees. Panic. He jumped up and ran out the back door, pushing through the woods. He didn't see the muddy slope in time. His foot slipped. He rolled down a hill and hit the ground hard, the gun flying from his hand. When he looked up, Chloe was standing there. She had come with the officers, wearing a bulletproof vest and holding a flashlight. Her face was calm, strong. Liam, she said coldly. He scrambled to his knees, dirty and broken. You're not supposed to be alive, he growled. I buried you. And I dug myself out, she said. Now you can dig yourself into a prison cell. He reached for the gun, but a police dog tackled him before he could touch it. Screaming, he was dragged to the ground, handcuffed and pinned by officers. Chloe didn't flinch. She watched it happen, breathing slowly. It was over. Liam was taken into custody that night, charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, and multiple fraud cases. Chloe testified, calmly and clearly, and the jury didn't take long. He was found guilty on all counts. As he was led away in chains, he looked back at her once. She didn't blink. She was no longer the scared woman in the box. She was a survivor. 1 year later, the courtroom was quiet as the judge delivered the final sentence. Liam Dexter, you are hereby sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The gavel struck. It was finished. Chloe sat in the front row, dressed in a soft blue suit, her hands resting calmly on her lap. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She simply breathed, deep and full. For the first time in a long time, she felt truly safe. Liam didn't look at her again. He kept his eyes down as the guards led him away. His once charming face was pale and empty. No longer the confident man everyone once admired. Just a broken shadow of himself. Chloe stood up, surrounded by her sister Cassie, Detective Marks, and a small group of supporters, survivors who had followed her story. Reporters crowded outside the courthouse, flashing cameras and holding out microphones. But this time, Chloe had something to say. She stepped up to the podium. My name is Chloe Rivers. A year ago, I was buried alive by the man I loved and trusted. I should have died, but I didn't. I survived. She looked out at the crowd, her voice strong and clear. I was supposed to stay silent, disappear, be forgotten. But instead, I chose to speak. I chose to fight. I chose to live. People applauded. Some wept. Others just watched, stunned. She continued, "This isn't just about me. It's about every woman, man, or child who's been trapped, silenced, or hurt and thought no one would believe them. I want you to know your voice matters. Your life matters." After the speech, Chloe walked past the cameras and into the bright afternoon sun. The world had changed for her. She still had nightmares sometimes. She still hated tight spaces. But she wasn't broken. Not anymore. She went back to teaching. The children missed her smile, her soft voice, her gentle stories. The classroom brought her peace. She also started a foundation called Buried No More, offering help and shelter to abuse survivors. People from across the country reached out to her, thanking her for her bravery. She wasn't just a victim. She was a leader, a voice. One evening, she stood in her backyard, planting flowers in the soil, the same kind of soil she had once dug through to save her own life. Cassie brought her a cup of tea. "You okay?" she asked. Chloe nodded. "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just grateful." Cassie sat beside her. "You didn't just survive, Chloe. You came back stronger." The wind blew gently through the trees. A soft breeze. Peaceful. Chloe looked at the sky. "I was buried once," she whispered. "But I wasn't meant to stay dead. I was meant to live, to tell my story, and to help others find their voice too." And as the stars came out, Chloe sat in the quiet, alive, free, and no longer afraid.